Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks. Today we are talking Monday, March 17th. I'm going to have 5 NBA player props for you guys to lock in. The splash zone is definitely back in your life. Only 2 plus money bangers today because it's just not a plus money type of day. That's just kind of how the board fell. Very confident in the 5 plays that we do have on tap for tonight. Before we can get into that, we do have to do a recap from yesterday, which was a pretty frustrating day overall. Now, we were down half a unit. So in terms of profit and loss, we've had worse days. We've had a lot worse days. In the past 7 days, we have had worse days. But really frustrating how we got there. We cashed out 2 juicy plus money bangers, plus 130, plus 135. But these 2 losses, the Jakob Poeltl rebounds under and the Donovan Mitchell points, are going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Jakob Poeltl, my whole analysis was based on him not playing minutes. He only played 25. Felt good about that. He only had 3 rebounds at halftime. Was feeling good. He had 5 rebounds entering the fourth quarter. I don't think he's going to play a lot. I don't think he's going to grab 3 boards. Unfortunately, he did grab exactly 3 boards in the fourth quarter, then was promptly taken out with 9-8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. So he grabbed that 8th board and then was immediately taken out. That one was an L, a really tough L. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. We had him 25 plus points. He took 29 shots in that game, or 28. I forget the two, one of the two. He barely made anything. He made 9 shots and he ended with 23 points and he missed his last 6. So watching that game, just needing 1 bucket, watching him miss 6 straight was brutal. And the SGA one, I probably just shouldn't have gone back to that. I think I was just being a little bit stubborn after missing it on Saturday. Wanted to make up for that. Again, down half a unit isn't terrible, but it should have been 4-1. These 2 should have cashed, but they didn't, and that's that. So on the entire season, that now brings our profit to 26.91 units of profit, up 4.87% ROI. It's not the best NBA season you've ever seen anybody have. It's not nearly as good as the NBA season that I had last year, and that's just kind of unfortunately the nature of the business. You're going to have good years. You're going to have not so good years. I'm not going to say bad years because we're still up, but would really love to go on a run to end the season. Let's hope that happens. We can get into the bangers for today. We see Props Madness up on the screen here, my favorite NBA betting tool. If you do want to check them out, I put a link to them in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. I'm going to walk you through exactly how I use Props Madness. So if you want to check them out for yourself, I highly recommend doing so. If you do, it would help me out a lot if you want to support the channel. If you just use my promo code, all caps, MODI, just my last name, get you 25% off. Anyways, let's start talking bangers. So I don't have a play here in Heat versus Knicks. I do have a play in the 76ers versus Rockets game. I do have a play in a couple gross games today, just kind of how it goes. But I took Jalen Green, and I took him 25 plus points. So if you wanted to be safe, you could take him over 22.5, or you could take him over 23.5 at some books as well. Anybody that knows me knows that I love doing the pumped up number, going 25 plus. And as you can see, the 25 plus number, 9 of his last 24 games is gross. In his last, 10, 11 games, 2 of his last 10 is also gross. Couple important things to note here. Number 1, he's been good recently, and he is a very streaky offensive player. He'll go on stretches where he scores a lot, and then he'll have stretches like this where he can't hit anything. But 2 of the last 3 games is good. The volume is good, 16 shots, but 11 free throws. So obviously, if you're getting fouled, your field goal attempts are going to be low, but high usage rate for, I should look at that actually, high usage rate. 28.4% is good, 27.2% is good, and 27% is good. As you can see, those 3 numbers are above his season average. 25 field goal attempts is great. 19 field goal attempts is good, and then 16 with the free throw attempts is also great. 2 reasons why I like this play. Number 1, Fred VanVleet is in, and he scores a lot better with Fred VanVleet than without him. If you look at his last, I forget the stretch. Yeah, it's his last 18 games, 13 times he scored 25 or more points with Fred VanVleet, averaging 26 points per game in that stretch as well. Usage rate about just under 29% above his average. And again, we see this stretch here, 5 straight games, then he missed it in 3 of 4. Now it's 5 of 7 since then. Now, obviously there's a month here gap where Fred VanVleet missed and Jalen Green played. That's where you see a lot of this red is during that stretch, but still pretty good for Jalen Green with Fred VanVleet, and also no Amen Thompson. So if we look at no Amen Thompson and Fred VanVleet, scored 25 or more points in 4 of 6 games. And the games he missed, 22 and 23. So came close in all those games. Usage rate, 28.5% is great. His average field goal attempts, if I could find that, is just under 20 per game. And again, some of the games he didn't shoot a lot was because he went to the line a lot, 16 times, 16 shots, 11 times at the line. So volume is there, usage rate is there, success is there, and the matchup is phenomenal. I mean, if you just look, guys with a similar scoring profile to Jalen Green against the Philadelphia 76ers, 8 of 13 towards the over, and you just look at the guard position in general, it's 11 of the last 15, and guys with the ball in their hands have a lot of success against the Sixers. I mean, both Christie and Dinwiddie hit yesterday. Now, Halliburton missed, but he had a good passing game. Keontae George cashed. Pritchard in a game that some Celtics missed, cashed. Some guy that I've never even heard of, cashed. Now, Edwards missed, which is kind of the biggest high usage player that didn't go over. But Brunson, 34. Steph went over. Anthony Simons, 34 points. From a play type perspective, it looks kind of average. But the Sixers defense has just fallen off of a crater. In the last 10 games, they have the 6th or 5th worst defensive rating in the NBA. They allow the highest, they have the worst defense in the restricted area in the entire NBA. They're just a train wreck of a defense. So I really like this one for Jalen Green. If you just look at like games in which he's taken at least 16 shot attempts this year, how many times has he scored 25 or more points? It's 25 of 45, but a lot of Green towards towards the end of the season as opposed to the beginning. So we take out that first half. It's 18 of his last 28 games when the volume is there. And the volume should be there. Even in a blowout, he should take a lot of shots. So I really like this one. That's our first play. Our second play is in another gross game, Pistons versus Pelicans. Now, there's a lot of injury news on the Pelicans side that we don't know who's going to play. That doesn't really impact my play at all. Whether Zion, and I do think Zion's going to miss because, and whenever anybody's listed as questionable for personal reasons, I always think they're going to miss. But I took a Jalen Duren, and I took him on the rebounds. So I got him at this exact price, 11.5 at plus 100 odds. So you're not getting any different odds than what I was able to lock it in. It's been interesting line movement. It went from like 12.5 down to 11.5. Now, if you use Bovada, you can get plus 115, which is pretty good. Plus 112 at Pinnacle, plus 102 at BetOnline. This is all about the matchup for Jalen Duren. And I also like this as a nice positive regression fate of recent results spot for him. We look at his last game. Only had 5 rebounds, but it 15 rebound chances. Like, I get that 12 of 15 is a really high conversion rate. But if we just look at games this year when he's had 15 rebound chances, just to kind of show you how many times he's hit the 12 number, it's 15 of his last 24, 62.5% hit rate. Not a lot of deferred rebounds for Jalen Duren. And this actually doesn't include this game right here, March 8th, when they didn't have player tracking data. So he at least had 13 rebound chances in this game because he had 13 rebounds. And the matchup against the Pelicans is as good as you could possibly ask for. We hover over the matchup here. We see a lot of Green. Rebounds allowed, 3rd most. Defensive rank versus position. That's basically how this defense guards the stat and the position that we're looking at. So how do the Pelicans guard rebounds for the center position? 30th. The last 30 days, I looked this up. Depending what source you look at, they allow the Pelicans either the 2nd most or the 3rd most rebounds to centers in the entire NBA. It's a phenomenal matchup for center rebound props. And like 8 of 15, similar to Jalen Duren, is slightly above average. 8 of the last 15 centers in general is also slightly above average. So it's not like an amazing matchup from a hit rate perspective if you look at just centers. But we're not really paying any sort of discount for Jalen Duren. Like, I get it. It looks like he's averaging 11 in his last 24 games. He's still hitting 13 of 24. And like some games where he had 3 rebounds, 5 rebounds, 5 rebounds is juicing the under to make his stats to make it look worse than they are. But if you look at games for Jalen Duren against teams in like the bottom half guarding center rebound props, and I want to look since the beginning of December. 12 of 23, 50% hit rate, 52 is pretty good. Now there's a stretch where he missed it in 5 straights of these juicy matchups. So we take those out. It's 12 of his last 18. And the reason why I wanted to look at like since December or since January was because that's when he stopped fouling a lot. Like the biggest issue with Jalen Duren at the beginning of the year, like if we just look at his entire season, he went under so many times at the beginning of the year because he just couldn't get out of foul trouble, right? He just kept fouling. He wasn't playing heavy minutes, like one game, 13 minutes, another game, 25 minutes. But since December, he's been fouling less, so he's been playing more. And that's even more the case since January as well. So again, if we look at Or we just look at opponent rebounds in general. Like we look at teams that are bottom half guarding rebounds in general. This isn't position specific. This is just rebounds. We look at it since December. It's 15 of his last 21 against teams in the bottom half. And we look at since January, it's 14 of his last 19. So these plus matchups, Jalen Duren has been good in. This is as plus of a matchup as you can possibly ask for. So I really like it. That's our second play, Jalen Duren, 12 plus rebounds. Next up, I do have actually two plays here in this Grizzlies versus Kings game. The first play that I have is DeMar DeRozan. I took him on the assists. Now, the odds, I locked this in at minus 106 at FanDuel. I wasn't even able to send that out to my tails account before the odds changed. So what everybody was able to tail was this minus 110 price, tails, which I would still lock in, right? Obviously, I sent it out at minus 110. We'll get into like the tails account and how that all works in a little bit. But this is what I sent out, and this is what I would lock in as well if I were you guys. So the reason why I like this play, we look at DeRozan, and we see like a lot of green recently. You want to know what changed recently? The Pelicans traded De'Aaron Fox. So in games without Fox, it's 13 of 21 games. Now, some of these games were before the trade where Fox just missed with injury. So the better way to look at this is with Zach LaVine, which is how it's going to be. 11 of 17 games with Zach LaVine in the lineup. And also, you should probably take in Malik Monk because there were some games that Monk missed where DeMar was assisting more, and that's not going to be the case because Monk's going to play. So if we want to be as truthful as possible, still 8 of 14 games specifically with Malik Monk as well. So with these two guys in the lineup, DeMar has been passing more. His usage rate or his passing rate, his assist rate has been really good with without De'Aaron Fox, with these two guys. And the matchup is phenomenal. I mean, the Grizzlies are definitely an assist team, but to the extent, 11 of 15 have, with a similar playmaking profile to DeMar, I should say, have hit their assist prop over. 3 of them since the All-Star break, which I always kind of like looking at pre and post All-Star break just to kind of see if things are different. Really good post All-Star break. All 3, Devin Vassell, Jay Will, Colin Sexton, all hit their assist prop over. All of them are grouped similarly to DeMar DeRozan per props madness. By position, it's 9 of the last 15. So this isn't looking at any type of playmaking style. This is just looking at the guard position. Still 9 of the last 15, which is really, really good. We look at the map here. We see that they allow the third most assists via the above the break three-pointer. This is a catch and shoot. That's how DeMar gets the majority of his assists, are the above the break three-pointer. Now, he's played the Grizzlies twice this year. Went over once, under in the other. De'Aaron Fox played in both of these games, so you really can't take that much into it. But I like the fact that the Grizzlies play super fast. Like, we look at their pace, if that shows up here. Number 1, that's all the way at the bottom. The Grizzlies play at the fastest pace in the entire NBA. And the Kings' pace has been hit or miss, but Grizzlies games are a track meet. So that is play number 3. Our fourth play is in the same game. We're going to the other side, and we're going to go with Jaylen Wells. Over 10.5 points plus assists. This is the exact bet that I locked in, minus 125 at Bet365. So no odds movement here. You're able to get the same price that I got. Reason why we are betting this, he's only hit it in 10 of his last 24 games. Well, the matchup is really good, but most importantly, no Mr. Ja Morant. He is out of the lineup. And if you look at games this year that Ja has missed, it's been 25 games, 80% hit rate, averaging over 15 combined points plus assists. And we just need him to get to 11. Now, you can't bet just based off hit rates almost any of the time. There's way more that goes into it, but it's a good basis. He averages 3 more points plus assists combined without Ja Morant in the lineup. He plays 4 more minutes per game on average without Ja Morant. And even if you look at without Ja, with Jaren Jackson Jr., with Desmond Bane, which is what's going to be the case tonight, 15 of 19 games, averaging 28.6 minutes. So his minutes are up regardless. And some of the times that he missed, 10, 10, and 10. So of these 4, 3 times, 3 of the 4, he hit exactly 10. And I like it. It's both a good matchup from a points and an assists perspective. We'll start with the points. Now, without these guys in the lineup, he averages 13 points per game. So right off the bat, his points are above what the PA is. His over-under points prop is 9.5. I like that over as well. I just like adding in the assists, which I'll get into. Reason why I like this play from a points perspective, these two things right here, spot up. He scores the majority of his points, like 40%, via the spot up. Guess who's the worst spot up defense in the entire NBA? The Sacramento Kings. You want to know the reason why? They're really aggressive with ball pressure. So guys that have the ball in their hands, like Jaren Jackson Jr., like Desmond Bane, the Kings try to pressure it to get the ball out of their hands, which leads to a lot of spot up opportunities for guys like Jalen Wells. You want to know why the Kings give up the second most points per game via the above the break three-pointer? Because it's all catch and shoot, right? It's ball pressure. It's kind of similar to how I talked about the Grizzlies. Now, transition kind of goes hit or miss. They don't allow anything in transition because they run a lot and they get back on defense. But spot up cancels that out. And then free throws. They fouled at a decent rate, and he doesn't get to the line a ton. It's his play type, only 11% of his points. But if he gets fouled once, takes 2 shots, that could be the difference between going over. Guys similar to Jalen Wells, 8 of 15 have hit their point prop over, which doesn't sound amazing. But again, since the All-Star break, it's 3 of 4. Derrick Jones Jr., Najee Marshall, Tari Eason all hit, and then Dylan Brooks missed, but he had 12, and his over-under was 12.5, so he was right there. From an assist perspective, with these two guys in the lineup, with Ja Morant out, he's gone over 1.5 assists, which his line is 78.9% of the time. It's actually exactly the same hit rate. It's 15 of 19 games. His potential assist averages about 4, 1 above his season average. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when your over-under is 1.5, that extra potential assist means everything. So potential assists are really good. If you just wanted to take him to assists at minus 105, I wouldn't hate that. I just liked adding in the points because I really like the matchup for both. And, Jalen Wells doesn't have the ball in his hands a ton, not like Desmond Bane, not like Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr., but it's still a good matchup for him specifically from an assist perspective. They don't give up anything under the rim. They give up a lot elsewhere. That's 40% of his assists where he won't be able to get, but that's remaining 60% where they remain 5th worst, 3rd worst, or 4th worst. And all he needs is 2. Like, I'm not asking him to get 6, 7 assists. He just needs to get 2, which he's done in 15 of 19 games without Ja Morant and with these two guys in the lineup. So I absolutely love this one. If you're asking me what's my favorite play, it's probably this Jalen Wells one. I just think that the books don't have this accurately priced, and I'll gladly take advantage. So that's our 4th play. Our 5th pick of the video, we're going Austin Reaves, and we're taking him on the points, rebounds, and assists. I got this at 36.5. It's the exact same price. I actually got it at minus 115. So you're able to get a little bit of a better price at minus 114. 1 cent better. But hey, that stuff adds up. So I'm assuming Luka misses. I don't think Luka's going to play. He played 40 minutes yesterday. He didn't play the last back-to-back like he did. He played in this game, played 36 minutes, and then missed the following night against the Nuggets. Now he played 40 minutes last night. I don't think he's going to play against a Spurs team that is in the toilet if he's going to miss a game against the Nuggets. And he did get a little bit banged up last night. He's been battling knee soreness. I think Luka misses. Even if Luka plays, this isn't a terrible spot for Austin Reaves. Now, the reason why I went with the PRA is because just increased usage in points, rebounds, and assists in all 3 of the categories. Now, one player who's definitely out, no LeBron James. He's played 7 games without LeBron. He's hit the over 36.5 PRA in 5 of those 7 games, averaging 44 per game. You look at the games he missed, 30 and 35. So the usage rate was, or the, overall stat accumulation was good in at least one of them, and not even terrible in this game. A tough matchup against the Timberwolves where he shot 6 of 16. That, I promise you, the Spurs are not a tough matchup. Now, these are all the games without LeBron. We look at games that Luka has missed since he's been a member of the Lakers. And again, Luka right now is questionable. It's not confirmed he's going to miss. But Austin Reaves has played 2 games since Luka, 2 games without Luka since Luka was traded. It's these 2 games right here, 40 and 58. Now, this game right here, LeBron played. So if you kind of just give a wash to LeBron and Luka, like all the stats that LeBron took are the stats that Luka's going to take tonight. Well, guess what? He still went over in a game with LeBron. You want to know what he did when both those guys missed? 58 combined PRA against the Denver Nuggets. He scored 37 points. He took 26 shots, 17 rebound chances, 21 potential assists. That's insane usage in all 3 of those categories. In the only game that both of these guys missed. So if Luka plays, Austin Reaves can still go over. Like, you look at his games with Luka without LeBron, it's only 3 games, but it's over in 2 of the 3. 35, 39, 38 is pretty good. And the matchup is phenomenal. You want to go to the points perspective. 9 of 15 players, similar to Austin Reaves, have hit their point prop over. It's all 3 since the All-Star break, which is important for the Spurs specifically because that's when Wemby went down. They give up the fourth most points per game via above the break 3-pointer. The fourth most points per game in the restricted area. That's like, what, 75%? 70% of where Austin Reaves' points come from. Since the All-Star break, the Spurs have the last 10 games. The Spurs have the worst defense in the NBA, and they're bottom 5 in terms of points in the paint. They're just a train wreck. Now they have no De'Aaron Fox. So from an assist perspective, they've also been getting smoked by assists recently. It's 8 of the last 15, similar to Austin Reaves. Now, it's only 1 of 3 since the All-Star break, but you want to go by position. 4 of the last 5, 9 of the last 15, just guards in general. Unlike LaMelo, 15 assists. The one that missed, Alvarado, had 5. His over-under was 5.5. So it's a good matchup for assists. In rebounds, it's a little bit of a better matchup for centers as opposed to guards. Still, 9 of 15 with the same rebounding profile as Austin Reaves had hit the over. Since the All-Star break, it's 3 of 7. Or no, sorry, it's 4 of 8. So it's 50% hit rate since the All-Star break. And then it looks a little bit worse if you just go by position. But if you look at the games where he's played without LeBron this year, in terms of the rebounds for Austin Reaves, he's got 6 or more rebounds in 6 of 7 games. The one game he didn't was this last game against the Suns. Every other game, he had 6 or more. So it's just a really, really good matchup for just general stat accumulation for Austin Reaves, which is why I hit it. And that rounds out our 5th and final pick of the video. So if we just want to do a quick recap, and then we'll get out of here. It's Jaylen Wells over 10.5 points plus assists. It's Austin Reaves over 36.5 points, rebounds, assists. DeMar DeRozan over 4.5 assists. Jalen Duren over 11.5 rebounds. And Jalen Green 25 plus points. We're risking 5.5 units. If we win every bet, our max profit is 5.34 units. Let's hope that happens. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to check out the 2 links in the description of the video. One is Props Madness. The other one is my Tails account, which I can actually show you what it looks like. This is just where I send out all my plays. So if you don't want to watch the YouTube videos, or by the time you watch them, the odds are different, I recommend you checking out my Tails account. I put a link to it in the description as well. This is what it looks like. Some plays I'm able to actually send it out through their tool, where you can actually just like click this button and it takes you to the bet. It doesn't always work like for alt lines. I can't do that, so I have to just kind of write it out manually like this. But this is what it looks like. Player prop, the units we're betting here, the actual bet, and then a screenshot of my slip just to show you guys that like I'm not making up the odds or anything like that. It's the same place, right? You go down the list: DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Green, Austin Reaves, Jalen Wells, and Jalen Duren rebound. So it's the same 5 plays that I give out for free. You just get them early. So if you want to check them out, again, link is in the description of the video. If you don't want to check them out, that's totally fine. You can still get everything for free on YouTube and on Twitter. But yeah, that's all we got. Again, thank you guys for watching. I know that you can get this information from a lot of people, so I'm always appreciative of the people that choose me. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.